Hey, Granny Gear here for Old Guy in a Bike. Now, a little while ago, I debuted a project taking an old, unloved, and unused hardtail mountain bike out of the rafters, converting it to drop bars, and making an adventure bikepacking kind of bike out of it. Now, it's been a little while. I've been collecting parts, and I wanted to update the project today, show you the parts and what I'm going to use, but also, more importantly, talk about how you need to look at a project like this to see if it's going to work or not. And that involves a measuring tape. All right, here we go. So here's the thing with converting a mountain bike to drop bars. Let's take two bikes, for instance. Now, you know I own a Turner Cyclosis gravel bike. That has an effective top tube, right? In other words, from the seat tube to the head tube, that length there is 590 millimeters, okay? It's slightly long for a gravel bike, but that's at semi-progressive geometry, which works so well. In a large size, it's a large size Cyclosis. Now, if we take a size large Turner Nitrous, which is his hardtail mountain bike, kind of an all-around trail bike hardtail, could use it for all kinds of things. That in a large size has an effective top tube of 640 millimeters. That is 50 millimeters, or pretty much 2 inches longer than the top tube on my Turner Cyclosis gravel bike. So when you go to put drop bars on a mountain bike, you just think, hey, I'll just put them on there and put some controls and adapt my brakes and all that. What you end up with is your brake levers and shifters are way out there in space. And unless you're an orangutan, it's probably going to be so much reach that you're not going to be able to ride your bike very well. So that was a challenge I knew I was facing with this bike. Another challenge I knew I was facing, it has no accessory brazeons, no rack brazeons, no third bottom mount brazeons. So that was another thing I had to face. And so I was working with two different things. Will it work? Will it fit me? And can I put the things on I want to do? You know, like maybe I want to put racks on it. How do I do that? Or I want to put soft bags on it. That's easy. What about a third bottom mount, et cetera, et cetera. So there was those kind of things. So I think I found a solution to both of them, but we're going to find out once I actually start putting parts on it. So to begin with, I took a tape measure and I quickly made some measurements on my Cyclosis gravel bike. I measured from the back of the saddle to the center of the stem. Noted that. I measured from the back of the saddle to the face, so to speak, of my brake hood. So I kind of knew where they were. Okay? And then I did a little bit of math and I figured out the length of the stem on this frame. It was a 60 millimeter stem on this specialized fuse. And I knew the top tube length pretty much. And I figured if I shortened the stem as short as I could go, and I got a handlebar that had as less reach and short drop and was wide, I thought I could make it work. So the stem was easy. I just picked up a fairly inexpensive stem, 40 millimeter stem, didn't need anything fancy for this project. But the handlebar had to be just right. Now, when you're talking handlebars and variety of handlebars, no one does that better than Ritchie. Ritchie just makes so many different kinds of handlebars. And there were 3 handlebars I think were in contention for me. There was the Venture Max, which is what I have been using recently on my gravel bike. I like that handlebar very much, but it has fairly long reach, and that would have put me at a disadvantage. Then there's the Beacon handlebar, and the Beacon handlebar looked like it could be the right thing. It's definitely shorter in reach and less drop, but it has 36 degrees of flare. So it kicks out really wide, and I wasn't convinced that was going to work so well for me. I don't want to have to, you know, I ride from the hoods a lot. To me, that seemed like a handlebar that was really designed to ride from the drops, like all the time, like a real drop bar mountain bike would be. That really wasn't what I was doing. But then there was the Corralitos bar. Now, the Corralitos bar kind of walks the middle line, I think, and has some unique features. So let's look at the numbers of that handlebar. I chose the 50 centimeter wide one. That's as wide as it comes. I thought I definitely wanted some span in this handlebar, but I didn't want to be ridiculous. Some of these new wide drop bars are really wide. It only has 67.5 millimeters of drop. That is not very much. Where a normal handlebar might be somewhere, say 80 to 100, 110 millimeters of drop, 67.5 is very shallow. very little reach, 52 millimeters of reach. Wow, that's really short, where most handlebars are 70, 75, 80, 85 even. Yeah, so that's, and it has 24 degrees of flare, which I thought was that nice sweet spot, and 15 millimeters of rise. So it has a little bit of rise to it. And that might be just enough to get me a little bit higher. You know, I want this bike to be comfortable. I don't want to be bent over too far. We're going to see how that works out. Since the steerer tube is already cut on this handlebar, I got what I got without changing the fork. So I stripped the flat bar off and the brakes and the shifters, took them off the bike. I installed the stem, the short 40 millimeter stem, and I installed the Corralitos handlebar onto the Specialized fuse. And I took and I grabbed the brake levers and shifters off my Linsky. It's a SRAM Rival 22 mechanical, slid them on where they would be on the handlebars, and got out the tape and measured. And I ended up almost exactly between the back of the seat to the front of the hoods where I am on my Turner Cyclosis. So that was really, really good. My math worked out, and I think the reach is going to work out. Now, as far as how that's going to feel when I'm riding it, well, that's yet to come. Now, I've stripped all the parts off the frame I don't want to be using. I've still got to pull the crank and change the chainring, but I'm converting it to 12-speed, 1x. I have some whole box of SRAM parts. I've got some XO 1052 cassette I'm going to run on it with a SRAM GX mechanical derailleur. I'm going to run, I think, a 32 chainring. I got a Wolf Tooth drop stop chainring, 32. I think the 3252 is going to be okay. If not, I can always go to a 30. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be spending time running this thing up very, very, very steep single tracks and things. I don't know. We'll find out. I can always adjust as time goes by. I'm going to be using, as far as the shifting and braking, like I said, I stole that off my Linsky. It's a Rival 22. Now, that obviously is not, it's 11 speed. Obviously, it is not designed to shift a mountain bike 12-speed rear derailleur. But Ratio Technologies is a company that makes a little widget where you take your little shifter apart. There's not many parts inside these like there is a Shimano. You never want to take apart a Shimano drifter. Holy smokes. The SRAM's pretty easy to disassemble, and they make a little widget that goes in there that converts this to shift a mountain bike rear derailleur. That with a little pulley change in the very back, not like your spinning pulleys, but where the cable goes. That changes the ratio of it a little bit, and you end up shifting really, really well with a road shifter and a mountain bike rear cassette and derailleur. Very slick and relatively inexpensive. I think I'll use this bike quite a bit with 27.5 wheels and tires on it. 27.5 plus, I should say. I think that works well for bike packing. In the past, I liked it for that kind of stuff where you're not, at high-speed trail stuff. But I have a set of 29er wheels I can put on this bike. I'll have a matching cassette, and I'll probably run like a 2.3 or a 2.4, or maybe something like a fast 2.2 if I'm going to do just like open fire road. But for now, I think most of the time I'm going to try running 27.5 plus. And I have some carbon Roval 27.5 plus wheels. They've got a DT 240 basically hub on them, so that's good quality. I already went through it and kind of surfaced that, cleaned it up. I've got some WTB Ranger 2.8 by 27.5 tires. I think that's a nice efficient tread design, and I think that will work good for this. So I also got some really, really cool, I got to tape the rims. I got some Stans tape for that. That's easy. And Muck-Off sent me some orange valve stems for this. Muck-Off makes some really, really nice valve stems. They have, sometimes they'll come with different little rubber grommets, so you can change them out on the valve stem to fit your rim shape on the inside in case it's shaped kind of oddly. It's nice. I've used these in the past. They don't clog very easily, and they're good looking. They come in different lengths, and these are orange because it's got some orange accents on the spike, so that's pretty cool. Now, one of the trick things I'm going to be adding to the Corralitos handlebar is Redshift. They make these little shaped rubber goodies that go underneath your bar tape, give you some bar top shape. I'm going to be running those on there, and I'll show you that when I go through the build-up video. It'll probably be kind of next, but that's going to be pretty cool. That'll give me some long-term comfort because these Corralitos bars are pretty much just round, and I think I'm going to spend a lot of time in that position, so I think that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see what else. Oh, I almost forgot. Notice, no more dropper post, because this bike did come with a dropper post on it, like most mountain bikes do. Well, I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision between taking the impacts out of my low back and versus the benefits of a dropper post, which is getting the saddle out of the way on more technical terrain, lowering your center of gravity. I wish I could do both. There's only one item on the market right now that does offer both. I'm not real crazy about it from what I've heard. So for now, I'm going to go with the red shift because I know how comfortable that is. And we'll see. We'll see on longer bike packing days, what do I prize more? A fresher back or getting the saddle out of the way? I don't know for sure. I'm guessing I'm going to find out as things go along. Stay tuned. All right, so let's get on to how am I going to put racks on this, because you know I'd kind of like to use racks instead of bags, although I do have soft bags, I can use them. Well, how do you put racks on a bike that isn't designed to have any brazeons? How about the t-shirt? Kind of tells it all. Old Man Mountain. And Old Man Mountain sent me a couple racks, and they have an axle system, because Robert Axle Project, that's part of Old Man Mountain racks now. They have a deal where you replace your through axle on your through axle bike, whether it's a gravel bike or I guess even a road bike for that matter, but certainly a mountain bike, and it allows you to mount a rack directly to the ends of your through axles, including a really slick one for the fork. So they sent me a couple different racks to play with. They sent me some of their through axle kits to adapt to this bike, and also some panniers, some of their Ponderosa panniers, kind of a mini pannier. And I'll be getting, that'll have its own video, but that's coming along in the future. So it looks like the math is going to work for this bike. I've got the parts. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start putting the parts on and assembling the wheels and tires and all that. And then I'll start playing around with the racks. I'll take you along as we do that. Sorry, this has been kind of a long video, but there's a lot to talk about with this project. Anyway, that's about it for now. I'm looking forward to getting this thing out on the trail. I hope it works. I really do, because I'm looking forward to using it. If it doesn't, well, I can take these parts, and what I would probably do is get a flat bar mountain bike frame with the brazeons and stuff, maybe in titanium, right? Because I like that shiny metal. And then I just move the parts over and call it good. But I'm hoping it's going to work. Anyway, that's it for now, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me on my front porch. And it rained yesterday, and I think the sun's out. It's going to be nice. When it dries out, I'm going to go for a ride. In the meantime, you guys, as always, go ride your bikes.